Hey Bulldog fans, welcome back to another episode of the Samford Sports Wrap-Up. I'm John McAloose, happy to be joined again today by Samford Director of Athletics, Martin Newton. Martin, as always, appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you having me. It's always fun to talk about my favorite subject, Samford Athletics.
Let's talk about the stretch run for these winter sports coming up on the home stretch for men's and women's basketball. Just 4 games left for each team, and both on little 2-game winning streaks with the SoCon tournament a couple of weeks away. What do you expect to see here?
You know, this SoCon run down the stretch is going to be a lot of fun. This is a really good basketball league on both the men's and women's side. You know, the men's side has been publicized. They're getting a lot of national recognition as being the 10th most powerful league in the country right now. The women's side is very competitive as well, and what I think you're going to see is you're going to see some upsets going down the stretch and into the tournament. You know, those teams that are playing, it gets real now. You're playing for at-large bids, you're playing for conference tournament championships. So we put ourselves in a position with both teams, the men and the women, to play that spoiler role a little bit. So I'm excited about it. We've got the men are at Mercer and Citadel, which are going to be 2 tough road games, but then we come back with an opportunity to really make a national impact with games against Furman and Wofford. So I'm excited about the end of this thing. I can't wait till we get to Asheville for the conference tournament, and you know, who knows? Anything could happen.
And indoor track and field about ready to wrap up as well. SoCon championships coming up this weekend. Just talk a little bit about what you expect. Obviously, Rod's always got them ready to go.
Well, I went over this morning when the track and field team left for VMI, and of course, Rod, the track athletes are all having fun, and the FIMUs gave them their goodie bags, and everybody's excited and happy to get on a bus for 11 hours and drive to Lexington, Virginia. But Rod, as most coaches are, they're nervous going into this. The women trying to repeat. They like the track at VMI. The men didn't fare as well last year at VMI, but I think we've got some injuries that he's a little concerned with. But I told him as they got off as they were getting on the bus and I got off the bus, I said, let's bring back 2 trophies. And I feel confident that both of them are going to go up there and compete and do well and represent well.
And we've got spring sports starting up now as well. Softball, a couple weeks under their belts already. They had a home tournament where they won 3 games last weekend. Baseball, hopefully going to have some home games if the weather cooperates. But what have you seen in the early going from baseball?
I can always tell it's baseball and softball season because it starts raining like crazy, and you have to build an arc, and we have to postpone games. That's the start of baseball season. But I was really impressed with Casey's team down in South Florida. That is a very good baseball team. South Florida is their tournament team. They go down there, really probably could have won that series. I mean, we left guys on bases and had opportunities there. I thought the pitching is coming around, and I think that team will just continue to get better, as all of Casey's teams do as they progress. Mandy's team is young. They're trying to find their niche right now. Had a good, as you said, won 3 games this past weekend. But I look forward for that team as we get into Southern Conference play to kind of hit their stride and their groove as well. And again, I see no reason why both of those teams can't come back with championships at the end of the year.
And one thing I know you want to talk about is the academic center, some of the renovations. Yeah. What have you seen from that?
You know, I am so proud of our academic center, and for those Bulldog fans out there that donated and made it possible for us to brand and renovate that center. I mean, this is the hub for everything that takes place from an academic standpoint, Johnny Mac, with our 360 plus student athletes, and it's 24/7. There's people in there, and we rebranded it. We put some. I told them the only thing I wanted to do was make sure I had my 2 quotes in there, and they did. One of my favorite quotes is Steve Prefontaine, who says, "To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift." And we've all been so blessed here at Samford, and our student athletes, we've got some that are incredibly gifted, not only athletically but academically. And so just try to encourage them to make sure that, you know what, we're every day we get an opportunity every day to give our best. And if we'll do that, regardless of what the scoreboard says, we're going to be successful. And so if you haven't had a chance to see it, I encourage you to do so. I encourage you to get over there and do so as well. But it's a first-class event, and we're excited about what it brings for our student athletes.
And real quick before I let you go, the Hall of Fame induction is coming up. I know that's something that's very special to you. Just talk about this year's class.
Yeah, 3rd class is going in this year, and if you haven't gotten your tickets, it's April the 13th. If you haven't got your seats, you need to do so now. We're putting in the 71 class, which will be a lot of fun. It's just going to be one of those fun times when it brings people back together, people that hadn't been back here in years, and just the sentiment and the feelings that they have about this university, and it's just a lot of fun. So I really encourage people to make sure you get your seats for that event, and congratulate those people that are going into the Hall of Fame. You know, it's a real honor to be able to be chosen by your institution and your university to be honored this way. So make sure you reach out and tell those people congratulations.
Martin, appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Samford Director of Athletics, Martin Newton. That'll do it for this edition of the Samford Sports Wrap-Up. We'll see you next week.